Hi, what's up YouTube? This is Danny. I live on the Gulf Coast of Florida, 10A. That's right, we are a little microclimate. And I love it here. But I'm here to show you some plants, mainly because the people I follow on YouTube, one of them is I'm a Survivor and Thriver. Subscribe to her, watch her. She's great. So, but I asked her for her Seminole pumpkins, and she said, all right, well, you got to do a video. So I said, okay. And so this is, I did a slideshow earlier, couple, and this is that first actual video, but this is a Seminole pumpkin. And I'm going to grow it up this here tree with yellow flowers. It's a golden something tree, or I don't know if it's a golden rain tree, but it's some type. But it usually has a bunch of yellow flowers on it this time of year. But the wind's been blowing kind of crazy, and I've been getting good breeze. And that breeze is good this time of year, but it sucks in summer because the rains don't make it to us. Everyone else gets rain just about every day during summer, and it usually doesn't last very long. But it's pretty intense and thunderstorms, and stronger than most tropical storms, in my opinion. But we don't get that because of sea breeze. We're about a mile away from the Gulf. That way is the Gulf. And that way is where the storms come from. That's due east. That's due west. That's where the storms come from, the east, back behind me, in the summer. But this time of year, if we do get rain, it's pretty dry. It comes off the water and we get it. So we're supposed to get some rain later tonight, I hope. This is a Mexican sour gherkin, and this little guy's kind of jumped over the past week and a half. And he was about or she, whatever. He was, a leaf and then a couple small ones. It's kind of just blown up a little bit. It's still not big, but compared to what it was a week and a half ago, it's pretty big. But I'm going to grow it up this boring old hibiscus that I like. It's stringy, so I'd had something to grab onto because they bush up. And they make you might have heard them called a cucamelon. They look like a little itty bitty watermelon, and but they're supposed to taste like a lemony cucumber or some junk like that. We'll figure it out. It'll be good. That's a strawberry, and so this is the kind of not so much a hugelkultur bed. That's what I call it, because it's premise, I guess, it's sort of hugelkultur, but not really. I don't really want to call it hugelkultur, but I just throw a bunch of brush and cut stuff, stuff I cut down like that. It looks similar to this. There's some branches, and that just kind of creates a raft. And we got really sandy soil. But this is a mortgage lifter tomato, and I need to string this thing up soon. It's getting pretty big. I buried this thing about a foot to a foot and a half deep. I buried it really deep, and I'm going to see if this thing explodes, because I've never buried it that deep, and I like to experiment. So, but what we're going to do is I got some bamboo, and we're going to do a tripod, and we're going to drop a string right down the middle and string this thing up, see how it works. I've never done it before, and we'll see if it works. So this is some type of runner bean, bean that I'm going to run up this papaya. And there's the papayas. I used to have this massive one that I had to cut down. It just got huge. They were volunteers out of some vermicompost I bought, and this thing had massive. I'll put a slideshow or a picture of it up on YouTube or something, and show you how many. It was tons, but I don't like them. I don't eat them. But the Latino ladies at work love them. Their kids love them, and so I give them to them. Makes them happy. I like them. They're very nice people. They're very easy to be their boss, and because they're just very nice ladies. This is a monarch mix, and that's got some milkweed and some sunflowers and whatnot. And I planted that because another guy I watch on YouTube who's around me is Rivera's Urban Homestead. Watch him. He's a really cool guy, and he actually filmed a tagged monarch, and I thought that was kind of cool, so I was like, well, let's see if I can get some here. But anyways, this is a comfrey, and we'll get into this a little bit later. I'm going to do probably about half my yard, and then I'll do the rest later, and but I'll get into that. That's comfrey. This is nasturtium, and this is some dino kale. And the dino kale needs to be harvested. It's got good sized leaves. It should make a pretty good salad. And then nasturtium flowers are very sweet smelling, and they taste peppery. They go very good in the salad. They add some color, and they're kind of peppery tasting. So if you like black pepper, you know, it's not overwhelming, and it's very instantaneously there and gone. But it's a cool thing to add to a salad. And this is my 2 yellow pear tomatoes. Yet another fruit that I don't eat. I don't like raw tomato. These are palatable, I can deal with them, but there's a lot of other things to eat, and I really don't like raw tomato. But this crop has been pretty okay. It's been decent. It's still early, so there might be more, but you know, I thought it would do a little bit better. And I mean, it's not that it's done bad, but I think if it would have been anyone else, they'd have had twice as much as what I have. So anyways, this one right here, you can barely see it. It's tied to here, and these need to be tied back up a little. But this is a sucker I pulled off, and I guess you could call it a clone of sorts. And this is a bunching or buncheon onion, and I don't know when to harvest them. I'm just going to pull them eventually. If someone knows, let me know. These are some mustards, and there's a story to those. I got a story to everything. And this right here is a spaghetti squash and a spaghetti squash. Don't expect much from them. It's not a great time of year to plant them. I just planted them just because. And these are zucchinis. They should be fine. This is not a zucchini. This is a mustard. But zucchini, 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 and then you got an okra, a couple okra, a marigold, okra, and then just mustard scattered, some Cuban oregano. I'm trying to start in here. And, well, Cuban oregano is easy, you just pop it in the ground and it grows. But this is some stuff I got. This right here is my mom's comfrey. I'm going to plant it under her oak tree and see if I can get it to last through the summer. And these are just some various tomatoes that I have. Mortgage lifter, yellow pears, red cherries. These are my pride and joy, my purple collards. I love them. They're true hybrids, grown from cuttings. They're delicious in the winter. Right now they're probably pretty tough and pretty bitter. It's been getting up into the 80s lately here, and pretty good. And it feels hotter than 80, but it gets pretty hot and it gets intense with the sun. And this is a big comfrey. Now, the big comfrey, this is in full sun. That comfrey over there is not in full sun. It will be in full sun for maybe half the day, the morning side, which is not too bad. And this probably won't last, but I'm wondering if that one will. I'm going to push the zone, David the Good, another guy you should watch on YouTube. But I'm going to push the zone and see if I can get this to last. But David the Good said he has not had much luck with it. So if he hasn't had much luck, I probably won't. He's far more accomplished than I. But this is a potato of some sort, either a white or a sweet. I don't know why I planted white. I don't eat white potatoes at all. I hardly eat sweet potatoes. I really limit my carbs. I'm much healthier for it. I lost quite a bit of weight, and I feel a lot better when I cut out all the carbs and processed food. And these are collards, and I'm just growing those to harvest the seeds, but I think I might have to wait till next year. So this is all purple Cherokee, or Cherokee purple, whatever they're called, and the Black Beauty eggplant. Never eaten eggplant, so we'll see how it tastes. These two are apple seeds I sprouted that aren't going to last, but they were seeds, and I planted them because that's what I do. I plant every seed I can get my hands on, just about. And this is a Hopi Yellow. And a little trick I learned from Dan at Plant Abundance, another YouTuber you should watch, is clip these things. So this is a Hopi Yellow, and a little trick I learned from Dan at Plant Abundance, another guy you should watch on YouTube, is a cheap way to plant up. And you just, instead of poking holes and all that junk, just snip the corners or whatever. Snip a little bit off the side, put slits on the sides of them, and it drains water pretty well. But this is a Seminole pumpkin. If someone lives around me, I live on the Gulf Coast in the Sarasota area, and they want a Seminole pumpkin, comment me and we'll meet up somewhere. I'll give it to you. I don't really have a place to put it. They need some room. They don't necessarily have to go up a tree, but they do need a lot of room. They are vigorous, and they love the heat. And this is some coriander or cilantro that I'm drying for the seeds. It's a volunteer that came up, and I just pulled it, let it go to seed, and pulled it, and now I'm drying it. And I got some peas up here that I'm drying for seed stock. Now, I do funny things with nitrogen fixers, and I kind of throw them everywhere, much to my wife's chagrin. We'll get into the contrarian bed in my next video. We'll explain why it's a contrarian bed, but yeah, I build soil, and that's my favorite thing to do. And this is red Russian kale. This has been my bumper crop of the year, and it's done very well for me. And so this bed is called the leftover lasagna bed, and this was built over an old lasagna bed, my original plant bed, and that's why it's leftover lasagna. And it's done very well. It's got very good soil. This broccoli has done pretty well. I'm waiting for the cool morning in a couple days to come. By cool, I mean about 55, believe it or not. It's going to be weird. But this one's already starting to go to flower, so I need to harvest it real soon. But I want to do an experiment, see if they're sweeter when it's cooler. I imagine they would be, being a brassica and all. But one thing about this bed, and this is the last thing I'm going to show you, and we will get into this because this is my absolute favorite part, is that right there. Mycorrhiza. You want these mycorrhiza, you want to use fungi to your advantage. This will really get into some stuff because this is what really interests me. The microbiotic life of soil is amazing to me, and I hope that I can convey some knowledge and regurgitate some words of wisdom about this, and tell you how important it is to, you know, try to grow naturally. You know, I do use fertilizer. I'm getting started out. I'm not to the point where I can fully get away from it, but I use very, very little of it, and it's fish emulsion is about all I use. Most of it's compost tea, but you know, I'll get into why I went this route and all that stuff in future videos. But until then, garden hard, people.